What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Daze's Lost Legacy. We know what's been out for a while now. I've done a review on it. It's God of War. And there's a specific character in God of War that I believe needs to come back. Now, this is going into spoiler territory for everyone who has finished the game. I'm going to be going into spoilers. If you have not finished the game, then do not continue watching the video. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to leave the video. 3, 2, 1. Okay. The Stranger. A man who shows up at your front door looking for a fight. It's become a phenomenon. We have reactors making their videos about it just because it's that epic. Kratos versus the Stranger. Happens in the beginning of the game, about an hour in. 2 hours in, depending on your exploration. Now, Santa Monica says that they have plans for 5 more God of War games, which, in my honest opinion, that's a very bad idea, but I'll save those thoughts for another video. By now, you should know who the Stranger actually is if you've gotten this far in the game. It's Baldur. That's who Baldur is. Baldur in Norse mythology is a god who's supposed to be loved by all the gods, goddesses, and beings of a more physical nature. He's supposed to be handsome, gracious, and cheerful, to where he actually gives off light. Obviously, Santa Monica Studios and Sony and the director of God of War decided that's not the Baldur we're going with. Completely different Baldur this time. Now, being as that is, Baldur by definition deserves and should get a redemption arc. It only makes sense, right? A god who in the real mythology is supposed to be loved and cherished by people turns out to be almost the exact opposite. Now, we didn't hear in the game that he was like his brother Thor, a douchebag. But we also didn't get that glowy sense, you know? He shows up at your doorstep almost like a drunk wanting to fight. We'll get to that later. And seeing as how Kratos isn't going anywhere anytime soon, it seems that a way to keep things fresh is to pick up an extra playable character. Now, I know some of you are going to point out that his son Atreus should be the next playable character, but he's got a ways to go. As of right now, he's still just a child, and he should be stuck to that supporting role of pushing square, shoot with arrow. So who better than Baldur to add a little variety? They've already proven that in this very first game, that dead people can be brought back to life. They call it reanimation. Reanimated, dead, brought back to life, zombie, call it whatever you want. I know that Mimir, the little goat head, says that Freya wouldn't want that for her son, because being reanimated isn't the same thing as being alive. And being alive was all his beef with his mother, was Baldur's beef with his mother. He wanted to feel. He didn't feel truly alive because he couldn't feel anything. Physical pain, nothing. You know, and he couldn't die. He was invincible. But because she did that to him, I believe the opposite of what Mimir says. She did everything possible for him to stay alive forever. And she never truly apologized for it. She was willing to let herself die so that Baldur can continue to live. There's no limit. I feel like Mimir was absolutely wrong. There is not a limit to where she won't go through for her son. And that's just the mother's nature. There's no slack on her. I am not talking shit in any way on Freya. That's just mother nature. Baldur is a hit. He's a hit, man. All these people are reacting to his fight. Yes, because it's so epic. Yes, because he gave Kratos a run for his money, and no one has really been able to do that. Yes, Kratos has been in some situations where he's lost, technically, but Baldur was that. He was the shit, man. He was the shit. Even more so than Kratos himself, possibly. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to throw something on this. Let's throw a case of dew on it. Put some dew on it. If there was a popularity poll put in place right now as to who do you like more out of the God of War supporting cast, just the God of War cast. Let's include Kratos in it. I believe Baldur has the best shot at getting number one, dethroning the God of War himself, Kratos. I believe he has the best shot. Now, yes, I know Thor is coming soon, and Marvel has definitely increased the Thunder God's popularity. But this isn't Marvel, and this isn't their Thor. Their Thor is likable, funny, not a douchebag. This Thor doesn't come off as likable nor funny, based on the stories we're told by Mimir. God of War took a great leap forward, and it has to keep moving forward in order to avoid getting stale once again. We all remember by the time God of War Ascension came out, we felt something needs to change. Because that game in itself wasn't great. It needed a refresher course, and we got that with this God of War. That's why it's been getting the 10s. That's why it's been getting the 9s and the 9.5s. But with 5 more games left, they can suffer that exact same fate. So by bringing in a character like Baldur back to possibly help Kratos, this would propel the franchise forward even more to where it can hit levels of The Last of Us or Uncharted when it comes to being a celebrated franchise. Until this day, God of War was just a fun, let's kill some people franchise. It was not celebrated as an art piece franchise the way that it is now. Baldur needs to return. Baldur can return without it being an ass pull, and Baldur would bring so much freshness to this franchise. Thank you all for listening. Write down if you agree or disagree in the comments. And I hope to see you all on the next episode of Daze's Lost Legacy.
Everybody know I be in the club VIP, like not me. Oh girl wanna fuck me, yeah she fine, I'ma give it that D. I with the homies I be, sipping on something, no shit I might need an IV. Permanently.